The first blockbuster trade of the NBA offseason is in the books, as Kevin Durant is going from the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets in exchange for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th pick in this year's NBA draft, and 5 second-round picks. For the Houston Rockets, the goal here was very simple. Upgrade an offense that was not good enough to get the second-seeded Rockets out of the first round of the playoffs by adding still one of the best scorers in the league in Durant, who despite being in his age 37 season, put up prolific offensive numbers, will immediately step in as the best scorer on this Rockets team and gives Houston a chance to potentially upgrade itself in its chase to try to catch up to the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves and the other teams atop the Western Conference standings.
You know, I'm going to follow you wherever you go. I'm going to be your biggest fan. I want to know why Houston. Obviously, close to Austin, you've got, Amen's there, Jeff Green's there, you played with him. Why Houston?
They just had a great season last year, love their leadership. I felt like I'd be a good addition.
Welcome to another breaking news episode of Rockets Talk. You know it's important because it got Roosh out of his summer duties. I just randomly recorded a pod after a month. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, kind of predicting what I thought about the trade, and the Rockets got me out of my summer bed again, bro. We are here right now, bro. The Rockets have made a blockbuster trade for Kevin Durant. Easy money sniper, the Slim Reaper, trading away. Let me set this up so we can talk about it. Agreed to a blockbuster trade. This is quoting Shams Charania, 15-time All-NBA All-Star, 15-time All-Star Kevin Durant for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks. Shout out to the second-round brigade out there in Rockets fandom. All of this happening, bro, while I was at church. And we were doing the if people that go to church that like are Christians, we're doing the benediction part where we normally break, like you get a piece of wafer and you drink the wine. And my phone was buzzing crazy, so I'm like, all right, man, let me not, because I don't want to, you're like trying to be fellowship with God, and I'm like, let me eat this bread, drank the wine. As soon as the pastor said, y'all can be free, I looked at my phone, bro, and bang, bang. I got a text from you, my best friend, my brother. I look on Twitter, a bunch of mentions. It's happening. The Rockets are here. And to even add to what says in that article, the Rockets are now the second best odds to win a championship. So let's break. Yes, bro.
Oh, my God.
We went from 300 to 1 odds or something stupid like that to the second 8. We're just second. We're behind OKC. We have the second best odds next year by the bet makers to win a ring, bro.
So I haven't tweeted. I haven't been on Twitter really in over like a month and a half almost. It's been a minute, right? And that was like I'm taking summer off from Twitter. I don't have Twitter on my phone. Even when I'm using Twitter, I don't use Twitter on my phone, right? So like basically I only use Twitter on the computer. The reason I say that is because my boy Rico Rodriguez, Manny from Modern Family, shout out to Rico.
Shout out to Rico.
When he texts me, that means something has happened because he knows I don't have it on my phone. So like he knows like I'm not checking Woj, Sham, well not Woj anymore, Shams, any of that, right? So when he texts me, it's like, oh shit, I check my phone because I'm like, somebody got traded, and I'm sitting there in my car. We're about to go eat some brunch, and I'm waiting because we're in checking to see how long the wait's going to be. So I'm sitting in the car holding the spot to see if we got to go somewhere else if it's the wait's too long or whatever. And I get a text from Rico, and I was like, oh shit, something just happened, and I check it and then I see it, and I was just like frozen, like, whoa. Kevin Durant is a Rocket. This is, since like the last 20 years, I think the biggest trades, I'm going off the top of my head, but I think the biggest trades have been trading for T-Mac, trading for Chris Paul, and then trading Chris Paul away for Russell Westbrook.
For us, yeah.
Right. I don't remember if we traded for Ron Artest or if we signed him. I can't remember.
I don't remember either. But he wouldn't even be up there, honestly.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be up there, right? Yeah. So those are probably the biggest like Rockets trades. And then this has to be right up there with all of them, right? Kevin Durant. Now, it is typical Rockets fashion to go get a superstar like when they're past their prime and old, and it's like too good to be true.
On
usually
brand
what
for
happens,
us.
right? Charles Barkley, even though they still made a conference finals, and Scottie Pippen, if you remember the Scottie Pippen debacle, right? So
Yes.
I am hesitant. However, there's a lot to talk about here. And first of all, real quick, let's just be clear about these second round picks. I think that's important. I have it right here. So the second round picks, according to Bobby Marks, so hopefully this is correct information. It is the number 59 pick in this year's draft, I believe, is what it is. So that it's this year's second round, or it's a second round pick
in this year's
number
draft.
59.
Yep.
2 second round picks in 2026. I don't know if those are Rockets second round picks or someone else's. If they're the Rockets, they won't be that valuable. My guess is it's like one of the Minnesota, Atlanta ones or something. Then one in 2030 from Boston, and then another one in 2032. Okay. So the 59th pick of this year's draft, I don't care about at all. Okay. Two second round picks in 2026. Maybe those matter. We'll see. Sure. And then I do not care about a second round pick in 2030. And I do not care about a second round pick in 2032. I don't care about those at all. So basically, we're looking at Dillon Brooks, Jalen Green, 10th overall pick, and then maybe a couple second round picks in 2026, whatever they end up becoming. I also don't care about the 10th pick in this year's draft, personally. I don't know about you. This team is trying to win now. I think this fan base has gotten used to like the whole idea of like, oh, the young core and like young talent. And yeah, you can get some good young talent, but we have a lot of it right now. I don't think we need to cultivate any more young talent to sit at the end of the bench. So I'm okay losing the 10th pick. I would like to pour one out for Dillon Brooks. Shout out to Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks, when he signed here, I was not a fan of it. I hated it, and I said that publicly. Dillon Brooks in 2 seasons in Houston gave us his all, man. The good, the bad. He had some antics. There was, I forget, it was at the end of game 4 or whatever, where he fouled Jimmy Butler and like basically blew that game. Like he had his ups, he had his downs, but he had arguably one of his best offensive seasons, maybe his best offensive season as a Houston Rocket, his best 3-point shooting season, his most efficient season in terms of true shooting percentage. He came in here and he did what we needed him to do. He signed that deal. He turned the culture around. He was a leader in that locker room. He was a leader on the court. He embodied what Ime Udoka wants out of his players on the court. He was ready to fight. He was ready to go to war with those dudes. He came here, did his job. Shout out to Dillon Brooks. Nothing but love from Dillon Brooks. I used to not like Dillon Brooks, and now Dillon Brooks has made a fan out of me wherever he goes. So just want to pour one out for Dillon Brooks. Unfortunately, Draymond might be right that the dynasty starts after Dillon Brooks because, now we got KD. Maybe that's right. But I just wanted to pour one out for Dillon Brooks. And, if you'd like to pay your respects, please feel free.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still kind of shocked at the trade. I think, well, first, let me just start with the value. Jalen, Dillon, the picks. I think the picks, as you pointed out, at this point in the Rockets, where they are as a franchise, everything now going forward is going to be towards winning. And those picks become less about the actual players that they're going to become and more about currency of using to try to win. The thing I do like about the way Stone operates is that he always keeps the future in mind, or the Rockets brain trust. Because I know if we talked about it's Rafael Stone is the GM, but there's a collective of people that kind of share ideas behind. And, and I think it is interesting that just recently, earlier, he was saying that he wanted to focus on continuity with the team. And then, obviously trading away Jalen. I don't think it's opposed to that because I think what they've done is struck a balance between both worlds of trying to be competitive, trying to win, and also keeping your core. And I said this in the previous podcast that I recorded the other day, is that a lot of people thought the Rockets making a trade was going to be at the cost of our windows with this young core. It's not. Right. You have so many players on this roster that are first round picks that are super talented. At some point, you start getting to a point where guys just aren't getting enough opportunities. And each year that passes from when they get drafted, the opportunities get worse. Like I've seen people that thought that because it's a newer year, all of a sudden Cam Whitmore and Reed Shepherd would just magically get more minutes. It doesn't work like it because now you have the competing priorities of we made a first round. Now we need to get better players to make a second round. and that's counter to trying to develop, honestly. So taking off what Jalen was on the team, it does free up a lot because the Rockets asked him to do so much. Some of it he was developing at, and some of it he struggled at. And we can get into the Jalen part later because I want to save that segment separate from itself. But with Dillon Brooks, I'm there with you. I think what he brought to the team is an identity. I think he brought a certain toughness, him and Fred together with Ime. I think the combination of those three are really instrumental to what changed the culture here in Houston. And I think that it's been enculturated. Like, I don't think we need to keep the Dillon. To me, the culture is not an excuse for Dillon Brooks to be on the team. If on the basketball standpoint, his defense suffered this past season. Whatever the reason you want to call it, whether it was age, whether it was injury, it doesn't matter. He was not a great point of attack defender, and his off-ball defense was horrible. One thing I would say that he did bring for us, the shooting was pretty much consistent throughout the year, and his isolations where he attacked mismatches in the post, that was instrumental. Like, there are games where Dillon won just off of himself alone. So not to talk down on him, I think for the value that he brought in to be a piece of landing as Kevin Durant, hey, that's all you can ask for from a player like that. I think what we're going to expect as Rockets fans now is back to business as usual, right? The revolving doors of role players is going to begin once you open up your championship window. It's like every year they're probably going to retool around the edges until that window is closed, and then you start making bigger decisions. So, bro, we're back. We're back. The Rockets are back to what we were used to under Daryl Morey. This little gap that we had with Steven Silas and all this stuff is over. And, we're back. We're back. The Rockets are back. Okay,
Ime Udoka has experience with Kevin Durant, right? I'm pretty sure he was a bench coach. I didn't look this up. I'm just going off memory. But I'm pretty sure he was a bench coach with the Nets when KD was
Brooklyn.
over there.
Yes.
So yeah. So that's good. Look, shout out to the Rockets brain trust, front office, management, and Udoka. They want to win. They extended Ime Udoka. They went out and got Kevin Durant while giving up minimal value and keeping a lot of other options intact internally. And then this opens things up, right? So like Kevin Durant. So Jalen was the leading led the team in field goal attempts. He led the team in usage. He led the team in scoring, right? Kevin Durant's a high usage player. He's probably, if he's healthy, would probably lead this team in scoring, would probably lead this team in usage, and will probably lead this team in field goal attempts. So you get a 1-for-1 swap there. Jalen was asked to do a lot of ball handling, which he's still developing, and we could talk about it more when we get to focus on him as a segment here. But still very hit or miss in terms of his ball handling, obviously developing. And KD's not like a primary ball handler. So this opens up opportunities for guys like Reed Sheppard to come in and actually like fill that role. I feel like Jalen staying on the roster makes it more difficult for a guy like Reed Sheppard to really kind of blossom, right? And get to do what he is good at doing or what he can be good at doing. Whereas now a guy like Reed Sheppard can come in and facilitate, and he has weapons and scores and guys who can just plug in and score and shoot. Şengün playing next to KD. Whoa. Like all those double teams that Şengün gets, man, you can't double off Kevin Durant. That's for damn sure. And also Kevin Durant he's not a short guy, right? Like you can put him in different situations, different positions. You can put him on the block. You can put him on the perimeter. You can put him in the dunker if you want. Like you can do so much with him. And then also Jalen didn't assist enough, right? And like I don't want to just look at like raw assist numbers, but they do matter. Kevin Durant as a baseline is going to drop like 4 or 5 dimes a game, right? So like just off rip, not that he's making plays in the same way. He's not dribbling, breaking down a defense and creating, but he's going to draw attention and make the right pass. And like that piece is important. The Rockets lacked that go-to scorer. They lacked another shooter, right? They lose Dillon Brooks, who's their best shooter, but KD's one of the best 3-point shooters of all time. So you plug that in. And then you get another chance. Cam Whitmore does get a chance if he can to step up and just be a scorer, right? Him and Jalen feel less redundant because he does not feel like he replicates what KD does. Maybe they both score, but it just feels like it comes in different ways to the effect that they're not going to be like duplicative of each other. And then also, man, we had this whole conundrum last season of like, well, once Amen Thompson broke out, right? It was like, well, who starts? Does Jabari sit? Does Amen sit? Well, Jalen, how about Jalen the sixth man, right? Jalen being a sixth man has never happened once. I don't think, I didn't look at it to confirm, but I don't think he ever came off the bench in Houston. Now, that's not even a question. You lose 2 starters. you get Kevin, you gain one starter back, and now Jabari Smith and Amen Thompson, and it just naturally makes sense for both of them to start, right? And these are more on-ball reps for Amen Thompson. So to the same tune of Reed Shepard, Amen Thompson gets more on-ball reps, right? Now, I've been skeptical of him as like a full-time point guard. I don't think he has to be that. By the way, Fred VanVleet is technically still pending, right? Like whatever they're going to do with him is still pending. So we don't know if they're going to pick that option up. We don't know if they're going to restructure it, or if they decline the option and he just parts ways. Like, so for the purposes of this pod, I'm assuming Fred VanVleet will be on the roster. If he's not, we can have that discussion. But now you have just numerous guys who can handle the ball. Amen, even Şengün, he did that some in the playoffs in like crucial moments. Fred VanVleet, Reed Shepard, right? So you just don't need that from Kevin Durant. And so it's addition by subtraction. And the subtraction is that it's not necessarily losing Jalen by himself, but you just didn't need Jalen handling the ball that much. You did for Jalen to be the best Jalen, but the team didn't necessarily need Jalen to be a ball handler to be the best team that it could be. They just needed Jalen Green to be a shooting guard that could score, right? And that really wasn't his strength, at least not efficiently or consistently, I guess. So yeah, man, I mean, there's just so much to cover. Now, all this is going to be dependent on KD's a rental. Like, let's just be clear about that. He's got 1 year left on his deal. If he does not extend, then he walks and the Rockets get nothing. Now, on one hand, the Rockets get some cap flexibility because Jalen and Dylan together roughly make about, I think it's like 55 something million, somewhere around.
Yeah, I think
million.
Dylan was at 21 or something.
21.5 million.
And then Jalen is at 35. So that's, what is that
56,
like?
57 million, something like that.
Yeah, like 56, yeah.
So if KD walks, they just open all that money up. I don't know
Right.
exactly how it looks on the cap sheet. If like, I have to look at it, so I don't know for sure. But to your point about Stone operating for the future, this move does leave open the room. If things go south and it doesn't work, it does leave open the room for flexibility to do something next summer, right? So you're not tied to Jalen Green anymore. That Jalen Green extension actually turned out to be kind of genius because you flipped him for KD, so it works.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a return of Kevin Durant, it looks good.
Out, right?
Even the Jalen Green draft.
Yeah, and man, they didn't even give up any of the Suns picks, bro. So like they dealt with the Suns and they didn't even have to give them back any of their picks. So they're still plotting on Phoenix's downfall. And very awkward for Phoenix to have Brad Beal, Devin Booker, and now Jalen Green. I'm actually interested to see like what that basketball looks like, but I can't imagine it's going to be pretty or efficient. But I don't know.
It's going to be pretty much if they don't marginally or improve their team a lot, then it's going to be a worse version of what they were last year, because essentially you're just swapping out Kevin Durant for Jalen Green with their redundancy and play styles. Because to me, they're all kind of redundant. It's just that KD is just super efficient. I think to your point about like the basketball fit, I mean, this is incredibly interesting. I think that he is almost a perfect player to put into the Rockets team because he supplements everybody's weakness to an extent, right? You think about if with like Amen's shooting, you get that offset by him being such a cold shooter. With Şengün, a lot of times he's operating in a crowded space, and some of the shot selection or the shot types he's able to get, given the style of offense we run, he alleviates a lot of that. You get somebody that you can run some two-man action with your guards. You can do Şengün and KD pick and rolls. You can do that, the same actions that they ran with Fred, where Fred is the screener. Those 5-1 pick and rolls. Instead, just get Şengün, bring the ball up, and KD can come up for a back screen, and then you can play out of that. So it's so much, and I think I love it for Jabari.
Yes.
Preferably for me, honestly, I still think on a construction-wise, we still need a rim pressure ball handler to create some of those shots, because I don't think Fred is that. I think you hope Amen develops more, and I'm assuming that's where they're going to task him with doing. But if he doesn't, I still think they can still make a move to get a guard that can get downhill. I think that'll be the final piece as far as with just having a real good structure. I actually wanted them to keep Jalen and to trade Bari, even though I love Jabari, because just from the structure, because I thought about it like this. Kevin Durant is 36 years old, will be 37 when the season starts. Jalen Green is inconsistent, but he's shown flashes of long stretches of consistency. Not all world, but league average, slightly above average 2-guard play for a month stretch. 2-3 weeks, he's shown it. And I remember we had a discussion about this. The consistency of his stretches, not of his play, but the stretches of good play were becoming more frequent and lasting a little bit longer as time progressed. Obviously, the playoffs notwithstanding, I thought that the two combination of Jalen Green's flashes and Kevin Durant's availability, having both of them there would be a great insurance policy for the Rockets when it comes to scoring. You can still be a baseline 52-win team with a Jalen Green on there. If you have a healthy KD and a Jalen Green, then that's still even more the merrier. KD gets hurt, your offense doesn't go into some weird Fred-led Şengün thing that we've seen in the past without Jalen. So I thought it was good, but the fact that they were able to, still pull the trade off and not give up as much as I thought they would require to do with the draft picks, and Dillon Brooks being the other player, not one of the, Reed Shepard or something like that. I mean, this is a great trade. And I think for Jabari, you have not only a prototype of a player that you want to try to reach as a player. I think some of the front court lineups that you could have, where you have Jabari, Kevin Durant, and Tari on the floor at the same time, where you have Amen, Jabari, Kevin Durant, and Tari on the floor, and you throw Steven Adams. You can go double big with KD. Whew. Oh my God, double big with KD, Amen Thompson, and Fred. Whereas the lone short guy, the versatility that he brings to the Rockets is crazy, and he just has so much value as a player, both sides of the ball. And to me, the best part about this is that the biggest issue we've had is closing out games. And we've had to, it's so, it's bad as a team for your scorers when your best option to close out a game is a big man. Most teams, even with all NBA MVP big men, do not let their big man close out the game. You let whoever the premier wing scorer is, whether it's a guy off the bench or you're starting back one of your, somebody that's okay, we've seen it with players off the bench, James Harden in OKC. You saw what's buddy that Lou Williams. Lou Williams used to close out game for the Clippers.
Yeah.
Remember that Lou would come in the fourth quarter, would not even play all game. And bros, fourth quarter, 3 minutes left, go close it out. So we didn't have nobody to do that. And now you have the body to do that. I think this is huge, man. This is huge for Şengün. I'm expecting all NBA, bro, outright.
Oh, hopefully you'd have to be. When you said Şengün KD pick and roll, I was like, oh my God, that could be so much fun.
His assist numbers,
bro, he's got an automatic kick out, right? Automatic. So look, Jalen Green would have benefited from playing with KD, no question about that. The thing about Jalen for me is there's still potentially a star in there, right? And maybe that's going to be the tagline of his career. Could still become a star if he never does. I don't know. He definitely started putting stretches together towards the latter half of last season that really looked like, oh my God, dude, this guy's going crazy. This is what we wanted, right? Now, the playoff series was awful, and we don't have to relitigate all the reasons for why he was awful, but it was awful. I think the main takeaway, at least for me, was maybe it was confirmation or confirmation bias. I don't know, but his game was always just very random, right? It's predicated on athleticism. So he's just going to be an athlete. And then when he gets hot, and you can't stop him. But if you do stop him and you put him into a corner, you back him into a corner where he has to now tactically work his way out of that corner, and he can't just tween hezzy his way out of that corner, that's when things got rough for him, right? Because he doesn't have a go-to. He doesn't actually have what I would call refined elite skill. Didn't have a go-to move, right? Didn't have a go-to really anything. It was just he'd just get hot and start hitting shots, or he'd get downhill and kind of believe in himself and start playing above the rim and come alive. But you just never knew when he was going to be that guy or when he was going to be shooting tour dates, right? You never knew. Whereas with other guys James Harden, he might shoot tour dates too, even back when he was in his prime. But you knew what he was unstoppable at, right? You knew what his go-to moves were, what his game plan was, what his strengths were, what his weaknesses were. The tactical aspect of it was all
Yeah.
there, right? With Jalen Green, I just never got a feel for like, well, what's he really good at? What's he not good? You know, it was all random. So to that end, keeping Jabari has a more fixed role, right? And Jabari can probably learn from KD. I don't expect Jabari to ever become even half of KD
Right.
for a variety of reasons, but he can probably learn from KD, right? Maybe things like shooting at a high point at that height. Maybe how to leverage your length in certain ways to do X, Y, Z that like a guy of that size could teach you how to do. I don't know. But Jabari had a fixed role. Even in the playoffs, Jabari had a fixed role, and he flourished in that role.
He
it was
did.
more of a limited role. You know, it was more of a limited role, but it worked. And then Jabari also has not been unleashed. He's never been unleashed here, right? He's never had the chance to like develop the way Jalen did. Jalen has fully fleshed, like had development. Whatever he becomes from here on out, hard to predict. But he had 4 years of just, you know, carte blanche. You do what you want, and we'll watch you. Jabari still hasn't had that. And so maybe there's still some breaking out there that could happen. But this team is here to win now. And so you need role players. And I think Jabari Smith's a pretty good role player. I don't think Jalen Green was fit to be a role player. I think Jalen Green is fit to be the only role that Jalen could fit in other than being like a star if he becomes one. The only role you could put him in, the only box you could put him in potentially was 6-man, right? Like that would be his role if he was not a star. For Jabari, you can see like, yo, he's the stretch big, do some hustle work, rebounds, hit some big threes when we need you to, play with different lineups. If we need to bench you for somebody, we will. Like there's a role for him there. So, but yeah, and then also in terms of getting downhill, guys who can get downhill and kind of put pressure on the rim. I think there's a chance they could make up for that in pieces with guys like Reed Shepherd. Big time TBD. Like we'll see. He can get downhill. Can he finish at the NBA level downhill? I don't know. We'll see. Cam Whitmore. Obviously, Cam Whitmore is not the type of player Jalen Green was. Cam Whitmore is like he's like a triple threat in NBA form, right? He's just get the ball, pivot, jab, step, shoot, step back, drive, like traditional triple threat approach type player, just a straight up scorer, right? But he can get downhill and put pressure on the rim enough throughout 4 quarters, 48 minutes to, rely on that for 82 games. Probably not. I don't think so. But you can get it in bits and pieces here and there. Dillon Brooks' fadeaway game and post-up game was actually very underrated in Houston. I think they can supplement that with KD, so I'm not too worried about like losing that.
No, that's literally like you're going from a Toyota Corolla to a Bentley. Like when it comes to fadeaway post.
And defensively, he was actually really over. I thought he was overrated. He brought intensity and physicality, but he was slow laterally, really slow. And Udoka had this like complex of like, nah, Dillon's going to stick the best player, even though sometimes it was like, no, a men should stick the best player, right? Like sometimes we'd guard. Was it SGA? It might have been SGA. There were a couple matchups where I'm like, why is a man
getting
not guarding that guy?
Right, right. You'll let Dillon get cooked all game and just
right. And it's like, what are we doing? But Kevin Durant's actually really good defensively, man. Like he's really good. I'm gonna pull up some stats here on KD, and it's underrated. And it's not all about base stats, but he has averaged more than a block per game for his entire career. Like on his career, 1.2 blocks per game or 1.1 blocks per game. On his career, 1 steal per game. So he gets blocks, he gets steals. That length is not just for show. Like it's functional. It works, right? He can guard 1 through 5. You can switch him on whoever and it works. He can kind of be like a pseudo big out there at times. And again, a KD contest, like that's real deal contest. Dillon Brooks kind of has short arms for his size. His strength as a defender came in the fact that he is strong, right? Like that's what he was able to do. And the Rockets will miss that to some degree, but I think that they can make up for it. So, if he's healthy, we got one of the best scorers of all time, and that's exactly what they needed. And all they lose is the guy who was their leading scorer who wasn't very efficient at it. So you basically swap those, and then Dillon Brooks loses minutes and gets replaced by like more Amen Thompson, more Jabari Smith. Maybe they sign a role player. Oh, also the moments last season, right, where Jalen didn't have it. And to your point, right, when you got to close the game, you got to do it ideally not with the big man. Even if you do have to do it with the big man, someone's got to get him the ball, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember that game against Minnesota. I think it was the one where we blew the lead when we had like a 15-point lead with 5 minutes left in the regular season.
That was a heartbreaker.
Right.
Yeah.
And then last possession of the game, they tried posting Şengün up, or I think Şengün tried going one-on-one or whatever. It wasn't there. And Fred took a 3 and missed it.
Yes.
And we had this whole discussion, you and I, about like, man, who's the closer? What do they do?
Yeah, we crucified Fred for that 3. That was a crazy 3 Fred took, though. Remember, he was like tween Hezzy and pull up. I'm like, bro, what you
pull
doing?
Up, yeah.
Yeah, like 5 seconds left. But okay, yeah.
But a lot of times that happened because Şengün's the big man, so someone's got to feed him the ball. They would double or shade over, and they would take that away, and they would dare somebody to do something.
Yes.
And it was Jalen and Fred, right? And toward the latter half of the season, or the latter 2/3 of the season, Jalen started coming alive. But there were many times where you could tell Fred did not trust Jalen. They went through him. They went to Jalen throughout the game. Jalen didn't have it, and now it was like, all right, back to Fred and Şengün, run that pick and roll. Y'all make it happen, right? Sometimes Jalen would even get benched for like Aaron Holiday, whatever. There will be none of that with Kevin Durant. That will not happen with Kevin Durant, right? Fred VanVleet is never going to be like, nah, KD, I got this.
I got it.
Okay? You know what I mean? Like he will defer.
If Fred does that,
Kevin Durant. And I talked a lot about this. I've been a very, very supportive of Fred VanVleet, even though I call him Fred Jihad when he deserves to be called Fred Jihad. If you look at his numbers in the playoffs, man, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was like 18 points a game. I think he was actually really efficient.
He was balling. Like, yeah, he came alive after like game 3 or something. I don't remember what it was, but his efficiency was crazy for I think 5 out of the 7 games.
Yes, he went crazy, right? So, and I kept saying this, when you have Fred VanVleet as like your 4th best player, he's really good to have as your like 4th best player. Now, he wasn't that for Houston. Most of the time in Houston, he's had to be at the number 1 or number 2 best player. And that's why we get Fred Jihad, where he's just doing stuff and we're like, man, why are we watching number 1 option Fred VanVleet? This makes no sense. But now with Amen Thompson's breakout and with Şengün, and obviously with Kevin Durant, like you don't need Fred VanVleet to do anything other than to be, basically a role player. Here, I have his numbers for the playoffs: 18.7 points per game, 4.5 assists, a steal, 4 rebounds. He shot 43.5% from 3.
On how many attempts?
27 of 62. And that includes going 3 of 20 in the first 2 games. So if you take that out,
game 3
was 24 of 42 for the final 5 games of the series.
He carried. He carried. I would say, yes, everything you just said is spot on. To ISO on Jalen, on him being gone. Obviously, we know Jalen was the first pick of this era, the previous era, the tanking era, and very controversial, obviously, to you as well. I think you and him have a well documented history together.
Forever linked.
I know you guys are linked at the hip. But I think there's 2 things I think of when I think of him being traded. One is that for Rafael Stone, I wonder what those conversations were like, because I feel like he probably did not want to do it. But I think if you look at like the brain trust model, they just knew they had to do it. And that's probably what Phoenix wanted. We invested a lot into Jalen Green as a team. The Rockets did. They invested a lot. I mean, they basically gave him the franchise on a silver platter to really take on. There is nothing that anyone can say that the Rockets didn't give him an opportunity to do. And you can tell for a player like Şengün, who the Rockets, they invested a lot into him, but they didn't give him anything on a silver platter, right? He is the embodiment of getting it out the mud against all types of different barriers that were placed. Some were self-induced, some were external to him that he couldn't control. Through all of that, the talent shined. Like you couldn't, the term, you can't hold a good man down. Like that is it. Like no matter what they try to do, is like, damn, we got to let him play. Damn, we got to let him start. Damn, we got to give him the ball. Like it came up like they didn't want him to start. He forced a hand. They didn't want him to play. He forced a hand. Well, we can't really go. Well, he's going to be our offense. All of that stuff, to me, I'm saying that to say when a player has it at that level, that's kind of what it's like. You can't keep a good man down. And I think for Jalen, the reason he is being traded and not Amen Thompson or Şengün as the first options to get moved is because he was given the most. And I would say, considering as far as relative to the other players, he probably didn't give the most return back, probably maybe the least return back for what the Rockets were offering and doing for him. I think I'm with you. I still think there is a great player there. His biggest issue is that it's not the talent. He's very talented. It's not, even to an extent, it's not even the skills. It's knowing how to play the game of basketball. I'm going to quote Brendan Jennings again in the middle of the playoffs, tweeting out, Jalen Green does not know how to play basketball. And I know what he's saying. He's not saying Jalen Green can't hoop. He's saying Jalen Green does not understand how to play basketball, because when teams were trapping him, he didn't know what to do. So that's concerning. And we've had this discussion, Roosh, about basketball awareness, IQ, court mapping. Is that stuff, can you teach that, or is it innate? To me, I'm a little bit of leaning towards it's innate. That means you're born with that ability, and then you can teach it and refine it and getting better. And if somebody doesn't have it, you can only teach them to a certain point. If I ever had a pause for Jalen, was that could he ever master being a basketball player? But I think the Rockets did everything they could for him. I think he was given all the opportunities to do what he does. I don't know what he's going to look like in Phoenix. I think the Devin Booker thing and him, that's interesting. The thing that messes up is Bradley Beal. Like the Phoenix roster is pretty bad. And it's not built for either of them.
Don't forget, they have I think they have Grayson Allen still. So
they have Grayson Allen and a bunch of guards. A bunch of guards, like 8 guards. They're like the inverse. What was the team that had like 10 power forwards? The Detroit Pistons, right? Wasn't there a year like Detroit had like 15 power forwards on their team? I forgot who it was.
But I remember they had like Drummond and Jason Maxiell.
It was like a bunch of big men. It was nothing but bigs and like 2 guards that couldn't shoot. It's one of those deals. Like, so good luck to him. You know what I mean? I'm gonna ask the Jalen stands, because I know there are some really hardcore Jalen Green fans. Do not use this as a way to hate on other players on the team. Redefine yourself, okay? He is gone. He's going to be in Phoenix, right? Don't pivot this to some weird thing about Kevin Durant or trying to diminish a man or Şengün because of this. Bro, this is big boy basketball now. If they're traded Şengün for Giannis, they would have traded Şengün for Giannis. We would have these same discussions. It's big boy basketball. And yeah, bro, like good luck to Jalen, man. Good luck to him. And yeah, we're here, man. No more KBJ and Jalen backcourt.
And let me add to that, to the Jalen Green stands. Enjoy Phoenix, all right, and enjoy whatever happens. Enjoy whatever happens on
beautiful in the spring.
Enjoy whatever happens on Suns Twitter. Look, to your point about knowing how to play basketball. If you talk to people close to Jalen Green, they'll tell you the same thing. He was like coddled in high school, right? They would do like open gym runs, and you know they wouldn't let guys coach him and be tough on him. And when all you have are skills and athleticism, like that's great. Obviously for him, it's enough to make him millions and millions of dollars and score 20-something points in the NBA and possibly make an all-star team someday. So like it's good. It's good to be athletic and to have skills, but to separate good from great, it requires the IQ of the game and knowing how to play the game. And to your point about knowing how to play the game, like I always talk about me playing pickup. People hate it. I don't care. I cook guys that are way more skilled than me because I know how to play the game. Like I don't have this bag or something. I'm not very athletic. I'm 36. I can barely jump, but I know how to play the game. And when you know how to play, Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, right? You watch him run 10 yards and he looks like a dad mowing the lawn. You know what I mean? But why is he the great? Because he knows how to read defenses. He knows pre-snap reads. He knows what he's watching, and he knows how to manipulate defenses and use the skills that he does have or the ability that he does have to break them down. CJ Stroud is not like crazy athletic. He's got an awesome arm, but he's just a smart quarterback. He knows how to make reads, right? Like those are the best. Patrick Mahomes isn't that athletic compared to like a Michael Vick or something like that, right? But man, he's smart. He knows how to play the game. Those are the best of the best. Now, the very, very, very best, like to ever do it, at least in basketball, have elite IQ and elite athleticism, right? Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, right? Those are like those types of players. Even guys like Larry Bird, I guess maybe not as athletic. Magic Johnson, go down the list. So that if he had the IQ, I mean, you look at Chris Paul. Chris Paul, you met me, Frank. I'm not tall. Chris Paul is my height in real life, literally my height. And he's one of the best point guards of all time. How is that possible? Because he's so damn smart, right? He knows every little nook and cranny. He knows the rule book. Like he knows every defense.
Yeah, Harden's in there too. James Harden's in there
too. Yeah, James Harden is not like not athletic, but he's strong and like coordinated. But you know, you put him on a list of like the most athletic guys in the NBA. He's not. It never was, right? But he's just so goddamn smart. Even Steph Curry, right? Like, so we could have that discussion all day, right? But again, IQ's always going to trump Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, like we could just go down the list. IQ's always going to trump pure athlete, right? Pure athletes usually end up as role players or they're very, very high level stars until they start to lose that athleticism.
Russ.
Think of guys that like just get above the rim like crazy, like an Amari Stoudemire back in the day.
Westbrook.
Right? Westbrook, right?
Yeah.
And so Jalen Green, I've always felt is more in that camp. Now, can you learn the IQ of the game and how to manipulate the game with your brain? Yeah, you can. It's harder because it's not, you say innate, and I know what you mean, and I agree with you, but I would tweak that to be, it's something that you learn from a very young age, right? Like you started, that's why point guards are born from like when they're young. It's hard to just become a point guard when you're like 25, right? Because you play that position. Same with a quarterback. You don't just switch to quarterback when you're like 24 years old or something, right? Pitcher usually, right? Like these require seeing the game 2, 3, 4, 5 plays in advance and understanding your approach to the game. So yeah, there's still potentially a star in there. I mean, he's good enough to just run around and throw up threes and dunk and like put up 25 and 5 and win some games. We've seen him do it. I know he can do that. But at some point when it's time to win, you gotta go for the cerebral, right? And I think that's why Şengün ended up taking over as the playmaker, because he is cerebral. I mean, he knows that his IQ in playmaking is high. Amen Thompson, that's why he's like seamlessly plugged in as soon as he started playing in the NBA to being one of, these rising stars, because he's smart as shit when it comes to playing. That's the hope with Reed Sheppard, by the way, as well, is that Reed Sheppard has that IQ to kind of elevate him to that level. So yeah, I mean, look, again, I want to shout out to the Rockets brass, man. They held their ground. Jalen Green had to be included for salary purposes. It was either going to be Jalen Green or Alperen Şengün. Jalen Green, Alperen Şengün, Dillon Brooks, Fred VanVleet had the biggest salaries on the roster. So you're either going to have to include one of them, and then like a bunch of small contracts to make the money work, which I don't know if the Rockets even have enough of those on the roster anymore. Because I don't know. I haven't looked at it, but Jock Landale, Jeff Green, like those were the guys, but they might have team options or they became free agents or something.
Yeah.
Jayshawn Tate was in there. I don't even, does his deal expire? I'm not sure.
I think he has one more year. I don't know if it's a team option.
I thought it expired. We'd have to check.
Oh, okay,
but either way, one of those guys had to be in there for money purposes. Right. And so it ended up being Jalen Green. But the Rockets gave up the least possible that they could have given up. Instead of giving up any of the Brooklyn 2027 swap or any of these future Suns or Mavs picks that they have, instead of that, they gave up 5 second-round picks, and we already ran through how those are probably not going to be worth that much. So shout out to them. They're serious about winning. Shout out to Tillman Fertitta. They've really done a pretty damn good job turning this thing around. Last thing I'll say about Jalen Green, they gave him, like you said, a silver platter to develop. He was the highest draft pick in Rockets franchise history since Yao Ming. And so there were a lot of expectations for him. I almost feel bad for him in that regard, because it's hard when like that's the billing. And you have to imagine that Stone probably felt, like you said, very attached. Like that was a big deal pick. And he passed up on Evan Mobley to make that pick. And at this moment in time, most NBA analysts would probably tell you that was not the right pick to make, right? So he probably held on and gave him as much rope as he could to try to salvage what he probably felt was viewed as a mistake. And so to flip him for Kevin Durant, I think probably, I'm guessing, but probably makes him feel a little vindicated or able to salvage whatever he was feeling. And so it's a win for the team, man. I'm excited. It's just about health now, and then it's about that extension if they're able to keep him.
Yeah, I mean, that's big facts. And I'm just excited. I think basketball-wise, you're going to get a pure version of basketball. Because you don't have to have the expectations and the hope of maybe this is the year that we get the breakout. Maybe this is the year where everything finally clicks. Because KD's a smart player. This is a guy that has 2 championships and playing as a key part of that Warriors team, played in that system, fits seamlessly into that system, was able to move and cut in that motion offense. So he's played in heavy ISO offense. He's played in heavy pick and roll offense. He's seen a lot of basketball, and I think him coming in his rightful place as the alpha of the team, even though his personality isn't alpha, I think basketball on the court he's an alpha. And now you get a true. It's not sometimes me, sometimes you, always us. That's dead, bro.
Yep.
It's KD.
Yep.
And then everybody else, right? When it comes to like options, because in a sense, different players may have the game. Like maybe Şengün's cooking one night. He got a good matchup. He dropping 30-some on some bum center that he's killing. Maybe it's a man is going to work just attacking downhill, blah, blah, blah. But the sometimes you, sometimes me, always us, always bit us in key moments where you couldn't make a decision about who should be closing out this game. Who should we go to in a crunch time? Who's the play? So now you have that hierarchy just based off of not anybody telling it, just the game is telling us. KD is the peak of that hierarchy. And once you have one of those players that demands the respect of the other team's best defenders, the coaches have to look at it. The trickle-down effect on your other players who were getting it out the mud already doing that, seeing, Şengün seeing triple, double teams every time he on the catch. It's not a lot of big men that see a double on the catch, bro. You know what I mean? You might, and, teams were sending triples on him when he made his move. They're sending a third defender. You can't do that anymore, right? Like, you think about just basketball-wise, bro, you think about putting KD on the three-point line and him being the post-entry pass. That alone is revolutionizing the Rockets offense. Like, that simple, him just being the post-entry passer, it just throws off everything the defense can do.
Who did they have that could pump fake from three, one dribble, pull up, and hit a shot reliably?
Nobody, not consistently. And
maybe Fred, but Fred didn't do it enough.
But even just the fact that his release is so high and his shot is so quick that even trying to cheat over a little bit to help, and if he gets that pass out, you damn near have to be under his feet and cut him off for it to really matter when he's falling, because it's not like you can disturb it. Like,
so you're touching on it right now, but just like officially, can you go in depth on your thoughts on what KD opens up specifically for Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson? Like, how does he make them better?
It's not just necessary. I know a lot of people are going to say spacing. My views on spacing is a misused term that people use for 3-point shooting. Just raw. It's not just raw 3-point shooting. What KD does is he brings gravity, and I use the same example for Steven Adams. Steven Adams has a lot of gravity. What he does, which is rebounding on the interior, he forces teams to have to try to box out with two players. And if he does get in there and box you out, you're done. Like, you're out the play. And so when he's standing there, basically it warps the way teams can guard our players, because that they're going to get a second chance shot. So the coach has to think about that. When KD is standing outside on the perimeter, when KD's moving, when he's cutting, whoever is guarding him cannot really get too lazy like you would even on Jabari or even Fred or anything like that, because of what I just said. So for Şengün, who's a player that a lot of the alignments we had was going to be on the left or the right block, he gets the ball. What usually happens, he has a primary defender that's there. You can send help from the entry passer, right? They'll try to play that 2-game where whoever's guarding the entry pass is going to cheat down, and it's Dylan Brooks. So it's like, all right, bro, Dylan, just go for it. And sometimes they would send help cutting across from the weak side to try to just, like, when he makes a move. If that's Kevin Durant there, the defense is in a pickle. Like, you can't really help as much as you want. And then once you start trying to bring guys to cheat over and you get the kick out, the scramble drill is crazy now, because once it gets to Kevin Durant, he's going to pull it. And if you're late on a contest, there's a difference between late on a contest with Dylan Brooks or Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, and KD. And for KD, basketball-wise, I know we're focusing on the Rockets. The season he just had in Phoenix and the season he had some parts of his year in Brooklyn is just showing you, to me, I know what type of player he is. KD is the best version of the Jalen Green tree of players, which is, and if Jalen reached his peak, he'd be a two-way guard that can play really good defense and is super efficient, uber efficient. And I compare players like that to, I use the car analogy. I compare them to rims on a car, right? It's great to have some beautiful rims, some blades, 24-inch blades. They make a car look really, really good. But if your engine is wrong, it don't matter how shiny your rims are. That car ain't worth nothing, right? KD without an engine is a non-playoff team. And so this is a perfect pairing for him in that his world, he's about to get spoon-fed a lot of great shots. A lot of those wide open threes that we saw, a lot of our guys miss, Kevin Durant is going to eat off of those. And I think for Amen Thompson, his game is just going to be having another player on the court that he can play off of, another player that is a legit 3-point threat, another player that he can set screens for. KD and Amen pick and rolls, KD Şengün and Amen running staggered screens. I mean, it's just so much for Jabari. I mean, Ime Udoka, bro. I'm sure he's probably, I don't know what he's on. He's probably drunk right now.
I feel like this diminishes the need for Şengün to become a 3-point shooter as well.
Oh yeah,
maybe you know what I mean? Like, because now you have KD. Not that one guy solves it all, but it just changes the design of the offense potentially, at least. It's also crazy to think like 2 6'11" guys with Jabari, 2 6'11" guys that can shoot threes. You know, like that's. I mean, what other team has that? I don't know.
I don't not 6'11" 2-way guys. I think not only can they shoot, they can guard. And you know, Jabari he's a kid. Like people keep forgetting, Jabari just turned 22, so he's going to get progressively stronger, faster, better every year, smarter. Having that length, and to your point, yes, I think the Şengün thing, to me, the 3-point stuff is overblown. It's always his shot selection needs to improve, and I would rather him consistently hit a floater or a mid-range shot. I think that'll open up more than a 3 right now, because the frequency he's going to shoot threes, even if he's improved, he was going to do 2 or 3 a game. Yeah. Maybe 4, but he's taking at least like 8 to 10 floaters and middies. Like if he can get to above 55% on those, that'll open up more than anything. But yeah, I think having a player like that, I mean, it just opens up so much. Oh my God, bro! Like the pick and roll with him and KD, when the guy comes off the screen with the ball and it isn't Fred or Jalen, when he pulls up, it is gonna go in. Like and bro, if they try to play the 3, when he gets to his mid-range, you know, they usually give up that mid-range. That's an automatic shot for Kevin Durant. You could kill teams with that. And then last thing, I know I'm going crazy here. When you get the switch and he skips it to Alperen Şengün, you have to pick what you're going to do there. Because the reset is going to kill a lot of teams, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
that
you
reset,
got someone smaller on Şengün, and now you got someone big on KD.
And you got to
vice versa.
All right, KD, just go reset over there. Bang, 3.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bro.
And it gives you a guy who can get to the free throw line. Like Jalen, he really didn't get to the line as much as you would think he should with the usage and the athleticism. Only about 4 times a game. And then you even combine that with Dylan. I think Jalen is 4.1 times a game. Dylan's 1.6 times a game in terms of going to the free throw line. So that's basically 5.7 attempts per game on average. KD last season, 5.8 attempts per game. Like, not that everything is a 1-to-1 comparison, but KD's obviously a much more reliable, foul drawer, right? And he's going to go. He's got star deference. Like referees give him those calls because he's KD, right? And the numbers are there. He obviously goes to the line 0.1 times more than both of those players combined. He's a better passer than both of them combined. Yes, honestly. Like anytime Dylan Brooks was making passes, I was like, no. Unless it was
better
just
cutter,
simple, better cutter.
I would say, bro, that this because I think stylistically the Rockets and the Suns play a different brand of basketball. I think our style is more mismatch hunting. Like we play in the playoffs. Like we play, and I think that is going to suit him much, much better because in the Suns offense, it was so kind of dumb. I don't know. Just watching from the outside, their offense was really bad. And there was no structure behind it because they didn't have really any structure makers. They just had a bunch of Jalen Green types, like scorers. The fact that we have a hub in Şengün, I mean, I don't think like KD hasn't been in this since even Brooklyn when they were healthy with Harden. This was similar, and he was super efficient playing with when him, Kyrie, and Harden played. They were like undefeated. To me, this is probably the best situation he's been in basketball-wise, arguably since Golden State. When it comes to just not having
since
to
Golden
be
State or
the
since,
Brooklyn. Well, they played like
that
2 games,
year.
bro. So
that one like half year or whatever.
Yeah, they played like 3 games together, but like a real consistent basketball because he does not have to be the guy. When it comes to like initiating offense or
he can just score. And there's no real liabilities, honestly. Like, so now you got, I mean, look, first of all, the championship, like whatever, what's the word? I don't know, caliber or whatever, the championship
pedigree
experience Huh?
Is it pedigree?
Pedigree, thank you. That we have on the roster between Fred VanVleet, Kevin Durant, and Ime Udoka, who won one as an assistant in San Antonio. I mean, that's legitimate. Like, that's not it. Now it's not just like, oh, Fred's the guy in the locker room.
I know,
like, hey, I got
right?
this one ring, check it out. Like,
Jeff
now it's
Green,
like, yo, that's
like some
right?
random bench player that was, oh yeah, he's a champion. Like, bro, that dude played like 1 minute the whole season. But
yeah. Oh yeah, I think Jeff Green has one too. I keep forgetting if Jeff Green. I think he might be a free agent, but if Jeff Green comes back, like those four,
yes,
or at least Van Vliet, Steve Adams, Durant, and Jeff Green, like that's real. That's legitimate veteran leadership. You know, people on Rockets Twitter always talk about the vets. Like those are some
real
top-notch
vets.
Those are real vets, right? Not Jay Sean Tate and
Jock Landale and his playoff experience. I'm like, bro, come on.
Right. It's like he's 27, a vet, you know. But and then also, I think it's probably I saw an interview with KD like right after the trade. He's at some kind of conference or some like event. Fanatics.
The Fanatics thing. I feel like everybody in the sports world is there for some reason.
I don't no idea what that is, to be honest.
Because I think it's a trading card company. It's owned by, I think, the Lowry guy that owns the Eagles that be throwing them white parties.
So that's true. I know. Okay, I know Fanatics is the company that does like merch, right? Like,
right.
Because anytime the Astros win the World Series, I'm buying like the Fanatics merch. I just don't know what that event itself is, but but anyways, he was interviewed at it, and I think he said something about like the leadership in Houston, and I think he's referring to Ime Udoka, because if you saw it, they asked him if he like knew what was coming, and he was like, "Yeah, I had an idea. I just didn't know when it was going to happen." And he mentions how he had something to do with it, right? Now, I don't know if that's just him saying, hey, these are my preferred destinations, or if he's like working with them to make it happen. I don't know. But the point is, I think he has a lot of respect for Ime Udoka. And I doubt that he was bought into Frank Vogel like that. And I have sources from, not this year's team, but last year's team that kind of indicated that Frank Vogel or whoever was the coach at the time.
It was Bud was the most recent coach.
Bud, Bud did not have that locker room. And so it didn't appear that Frank Vogel really did either. And then obviously Steve Nash got fired, right, in Brooklyn. So like I think they were all cool with Steve Nash at first, and then it kind of just fell apart. And Steve Nash is soft-spoken, so I could see like that not working. But Ime Udoka was on that bench. And so if KD's bought into Ime Udoka, that like we've talked about how the locker room's bought into Ime Udoka, and that's a big part of it. Man, if KD is bought into Ime Udoka,
that sets the trend, bro. Everybody falls in line. And Royal Ivy, obviously, him and KD.
Yes. Oh, they played
UT connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think KD came right after the Ivy team.
Yeah, he did. I think it was like a year after. And they just signed DJ Augustine to the coaching squad. DJ Augustine is going to be like an assistant coach.
The Rockets?
Yeah.
What?
I saw that. I know you haven't been on Twitter. Maybe I'm wrong. But I saw that DJ Augustine is going to be on the staff for the so they're overhauling all the
Houston Rockets hire NBA veteran to front office.
Front office. There you go.
That's not a coincidence, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, that's crazy.
It's like you see all the stuff all in there. So they re-signed Ime. Look at the timeline. First Royal Ivy. I think he was kept on the first. They re-signed Ime. Ime say he's keeping all his staff. So everybody's coming back on the coaching staff. So continue to either add DJ Augustine to the front office, and then here come Kevin Durant. So they're having a UT reunion on the Rockets.
Don't discount, by the way. I don't know what our cap situation is. I don't know what we can do with the MLE. I have not looked at any of that. So if I'm wrong, please tell me. But to the extent that we have resources to go get a free agent or two, I mean, we have just become probably
prime destination,
premier destination. Yeah, to be, hey, I want to go play with those guys and win a championship, right? So things look set up very nice. Now, like one Kevin Durant ankle roll could derail all of that.
Yes.
So we'll keep it real. But on paper, things look really nice. The Rockets don't have any weaknesses. Şengün, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, Fred VanVleet, Tari Eason, Reed Shepherd, Cam Whitmore, Steven Adams, whoever else I'm missing. That's a team. And that's a team that the young kids just cut their teeth against Golden State, against championship caliber Golden State. And now they add Kevin Durant. They're ready to go to war. So if this team stays healthy, we're back.
We're back, man. And I think on that note, I mean, we're going to probably have to do another follow-up video. This was just a initial reaction to talk more basketball, because there's so much stuff that's going through my head right now as far as like the team, the lineups, like what are the best lineups together.
We're gonna get off. We're gonna get off this pod, and I'm gonna go. Oh man, I forgot to mention this. I forgot to mention. This.
Yeah. I know there's something on my mind that I wanted to talk about, but I think I'll leave it. I just know for a fact that this is, like I said, on the basketball. This is going to be it's going to be beautiful basketball. Assuming everybody stays healthy. I think, like you said, with the Fred VanVleets, I think Fred being on the team is important for Kevin Durant. I think when he talks about leadership, I think the structure that Ime provides, a coach he respects, is a big deal. I think having a star player that really can, because I think the NBA wants to mess with us, but they were trying to force Jalen to be the face of our team, and it just never hit. Now we have a face. Like, you have somebody, and I think the best part of all this is that even if Kevin is only here for 2 to 3 seasons or however long, maybe he just wants to retire here, this allows him. Here's what I was going to say. This is the first time for him where he's coming into a team as a free agent that isn't a super team, that he can actually build his legacy upon if he actually wins a ring here, that will, and at the same time be the best player, because all the good players are young and still finding their own. Because every team he's gone to, they've accused him of being like, oh, he's ring chasing. Oh, you're trying to form up with other guys that already have their own situation. Remember, he went to Devin Booker in Phoenix. He went to, the Brooklyn thing kind of just came together. He went to Golden State from OKC. Now he's not coming to a championship team. He's coming to a city to bring a championship. And I think for a guy, honestly, I know he might not care about this. I think for his legacy, bro, this was a good legacy move. Because if he actually might make some noise in Houston, if he mess around and win a ring here in Houston, I think it deads all the noise that go around him. But yeah, I just want to get that off because I knew I would.
I mean, look, I don't disagree, bro. If we go on and win one with Kevin Durant, unless we like trade for Giannis and
right.
Which by the way, real quick, the Rockets, what they did not trade could technically,
they could still go get somebody. Yeah.
You could go get someone like Giannis. But that aside, assuming they don't go do something like that and form like Voltron, if he does come here and win one with this team, I bet you it will be looked at as more valuable to his legacy than the ones in Golden State.
Of course.
Right? Like, because these would, people probably be like, oh, that's the one. Like, everyone in Golden State thought they were going to win it. This is not, we're not underdogs by any means, but we're not guaranteed. We don't have like we're not like a preseason, like, oh my God, there's no way those guys can lose like those Warriors were. We're the perfect blend of maturity, Fred, KD now, Steven Adams, guys that are contributing to the rotation, and young up and coming talent. And even some of the young guys like Amen Thompson are mature beyond their years, right? I don't mean to not like, I don't know Jalen Green personally, so I'm not going to like assert this about him, but just my view from where I sit back here behind the screen, there just seems to be a sense of like kind of, I don't know if immaturity is the right word, or if maybe I'm just too old at this point, and whatever, his whatever he does is just kind of, to me, like I would find it immature. I don't know. But it just seems like, he's still just a kid, right? In a lot of ways, he just kind of still, like, even the stuff with, I won't go into personal life, but it just seems like he's still kind of a kid, right? And so to take that off of the team and to replace it with, a 37-year-old seasoned vet, I think will go a long way as well, just to the overall makeup of the team, mentally speaking. Even though this was a pretty mentally tough team, I don't want to take anything away from the team we just had. They were really mentally tough. Obviously, in the playoffs, that didn't play out that way. But if we win the ring with Kevin Durant, I think it'll shine beautifully on his legacy. And I'll tell you what, I haven't gotten a jersey. I don't remember the last jersey I bought, but
oh man, you about to get a Durant jersey?
35 in red in Houston. I might have to get one of those. I'm not sure.
If this was 2006, how many UT throwbacks at the games would you see? Like, people rocking.
Oh man, man. You might start seeing them at the, who knows?
Bro, I seen.
Can you imagine a red and yellow throwback 94-95 Rockets with Durant? Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, bring throwbacks back. But yeah, 1 hour pod, so that should make up for at least 2 weeks of not podding. So we will. I think we're gonna have to do a follow up, because I think there's a lot like we didn't get into, but these are our initial reactions to the KD trade. I want you guys to comment in the comments and in the chat. Was the trade a win or lose for the Rockets? Are you excited to have KD on the team? And do you guys believe the hype? They have the Rockets right now with the second best odds to win a championship. Obviously, they're still early in the preseason.
Also,
but that is nuts.
Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, even Steven Adams. All Rockets.
OKC South. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, basically,
Bring it
right?
back.
It's kind of weird.
I've heard some things about 13 that it could be a possibility. I would not be opposed to that, to be honest, on this team.
We'll have to do a separate one on that. I have some thoughts on that. What? Yeah, I've heard because he's a free agent, right?
He is a free agent, and we have the money to do
he's
it.
Interested. I bet you he's interested.
And I'm sure there might be some reciprocal interest there from multiple parties. But appreciate y'all, man. That's a great teaser, by the way. That's what you call a teaser right there, guys. Appreciate y'all. Once again, leave your comments in the chat. Do you think the Rockets won the trade? Do you like the move? Can we win a championship? That is us here at Rockets Talk. We're going to tap in with y'all on the next go round. Keep rocking with us, and we're going to keep dropping that fire.